It's Wednesday, December 12. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. The three states of public emergency in St. James, Kingston and St. Catherine North Police Division have come to an end. This after the parliamentary opposition on Tuesday voted against the extensions. All 33 government members voted yes in support. However, up to 21 opposition members voted no. The extensions needed a two-thirds majority to go ahead. The vote came with a vigorous debate in the House. Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips made the case that the country didn't need a state of emergency to be safe.
You don't need a state of emergency to have your vehicle checkpoints and your other checkpoints all through St. James and all through St. Catherine and the corporate area. You can multiply checkpoints without. We have had checkpoints all over all the time without having a state of emergency. Have them if you want. You don't have to reduce one officer of the security forces, whether military or police, because we don't extend this. In fact, you can add numbers if you have them and saturate the place, because it is the saturation that has given you the response that you see.
But making an impassioned defense, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said an extension was needed, citing letters from the heads of security forces requesting a 90-day extension.
I didn't come here on my own volition and knowledge and understanding. There is a team of well-qualified Jamaicans in the security field who have advised, and ultimately on the recommendation of the Chief of Police and the Chief of Defense Staff, their signed letters saying recommendation and request in light of the foregoing. We request the extension of the state of public emergency in St. James for a further 90 days. All of these letters signed. I don't come here on my own. This is not a request coming from a political party. This is something that the state security forces have requested. And I urge the opposition to consider that point.
He said since the St. James state of emergency was imposed almost a year ago, murders have been reduced by 72% and shootings by 63%. The country's overall murder rate has declined by over 20% since the imposition of the emergency security measures. In the meantime, the Parliament has voted to extend the Mount Salem zone of special operations. Government and opposition members clashed in the House of Representatives yesterday afternoon over the holding of a meeting of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee to peruse the Auditor General's report on Petrojam. There was intense debate as to whether leader of government business Carl Samuda acted improperly in instructing the clerk and Hansard writers to withdraw from the PAC meeting. The meeting was adjourned after PAC Chairman Mark Golding was presented with a memo by the clerk indicating that Mr. Samuda instructed her to withdraw the services of government workers. Mr. Samuda and leader of opposition business Philip Paulwell had divergent views on the sequence of events.
I communicated with the Prime Minister on whose instructions I was acting to ensure that the earliest possible date for the meeting should be convened, and we determined that it was December the 18th. I communicated to the Prime Minister, and it is also for inspection in my WhatsApp, when I said the attachments of the arrangements for the PAC to meet on the 28th have been communicated. The House will adjourn tomorrow for the Xmas season, but that would not prevent the PAC meeting next week if they so wish. Mr. Paulwell is in full agreement. That was communicated to the Prime Minister after confirmation by the Leader of Opposition Business.
The member mentioned to me that he believes the 18th of December is a better date for the meeting of the PAC. My position is clear. I did not have a difficulty with the 18th, but I remarked to the House Leader that the aim of this morning's meeting, the aim of this morning's meeting,
Order, please. Order, please.
And it was an agreed position that it would be preliminary, it would be procedural, that the AG would have been present, and that the meeting was properly convened. But you were on the call with me.
The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, later suggested that the matter be put to a parliamentary committee to determine what caused the confusion over the PAC meeting. Speaking at a press conference on Monday, the Prime Minister mandated that the AG's Petroleum report be examined by the PAC.
We had a discussion at our central executive of the Jamaica Labour Party, and it was unanimously agreed that every effort should be made to have the Auditor General's report examined by the relevant bodies of Parliament, the relevant committees of Parliament. And so the Leader of Government Business will caucus with the government members of the committee, the PAC, to ensure that at the earliest possible practical time that the report is brought for the scrutiny and supervision.
The Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, is calling for the resignation of opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell, in light of his involvement in the Auditor General's report of corruption at the state-owned oil refinery, Petroleum. The JLP also says that Paulwell should recuse himself from deliberations of parliamentary oversight bodies, which are likely to review the Auditor General's report, which extends to the tenure during which he was the primus inter pares of the energy sector. In a statement yesterday, JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang said it's noteworthy that concerning issues raised in the energy sector, under the current JLP administration, there has been accountability via resignations at the ministerial, board and management levels. He said that Paulwell should be held to account for the delay in the country's crucial move towards energy security because of what the Contractor General had identified as Paulwell's, quote, unfair, highly irregular and improper intervention, end quote, in the procurement process in securing a preferred bidder, EWI, to construct the plant. The government has announced that Jamaicans will have to make increased NIS contributions come April 1, citing fears the National Insurance Scheme, which pays out pensions, could run out of money in another 19 years. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark made the announcement in the House of Representatives on Tuesday afternoon.
The actual report, as at March 31st, 2016, calculated that without an increase in the contribution rate and or other contribution-related parameters, the NIF would have negative cash flow by 2029, i.e. in 11 years, where the sum of annual pension and other benefits funded by the NIF and administration costs paid would exceed the annual contribution and investment income. The actual report further calculated that by 2037, i.e. in 19 years, the NIF would be completely depleted.
Dr. Clark explained that the actuarial study in 2016 revealed that without an increase in contributions, the National Insurance Fund would have a negative cash flow by 2029. He said this is because outflows from the fund have been outstripping inflows for the last 10 years.
For the last 10 years, that has been the case. For the last 10 years, NIS benefits paid out have exceeded NIS contributions paid in.
Dr. Clark also announced that the wage ceiling for circulation pension contributions is also to be raised. Jamaica's Glenroy McIntosh now serves on the prestigious Commonwealth Youth Council for the period 2018 to 2020. The Commonwealth Youth Council is the official voice of the young people across all Commonwealth nations. The council's aim is to further advance the youth development agenda by integrating young people into the development work of the Commonwealth at national, regional, and Commonwealth levels. McIntosh was appointed to the Caribbean and Americas Regional Committee as the Director of Program Implementation. In this role, he is responsible for the coordination, management of all programs, initiatives, and projects conducted by the committee across the region. In regional news, recognizing the environmental and economic value of healthy coral reefs and the dangers posed by warmer oceans and more intense hurricanes, a group of tourism-focused organizations have joined forces to help protect and regenerate Caribbean reefs. 2 individuals, each from Dominica, the British Virgin Islands, and the United States Virgin Islands recently spent a week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, completing a coral first aid certification training program. Additional individuals from affected territories will now be trained by these graduates to assist with major restoration efforts. Marine scientists have confirmed that coral reefs, which make up only 1% of the ocean floor but support 25% of marine life, have declined in the Caribbean by as much as 50 to 80% in recent years. The Grupo Punta Cana Foundation's president, Frank Ranieri, was founder of CAST and served as its first chairman in 1997. In sports, we begin with football. As chairman of Harborview Football Club, Carvel Stewart says the club has accepted coach Ricardo Bibi Gardner's resignation, but is hoping the former reggae boy will reconsider his position. Gardner tendered his resignation on Monday, but Stewart says it wasn't clear what the reasons were for him to make the move. The club legend was into his 2nd season as a full-time coach with the club. Fabian Taylor will now take charge of the club in the interim, and another former reggae boy and club teammate, Damian Stuppies Stewart, in an assistant role. And that's the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.